Oh, even better. Now that I have that crazy upload time. What I'll do is I'll give us just like a hey, what's going on, and then I'll throw it to Sal. Sal, give us what you've been up to. Maybe tell us about your new lady friend, right, if you want.
Hello, nurse.
It is the Tinder episode, and then we'll jump right into it. There hasn't really been any news that's newsworthy, so in my opinion,
We are live.
So cool. I'll give it a pause and then I'll start. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. It is our annual Tinder episode. So I'm your host, Doug. I'm here with Tyler. Tim couldn't make it. It's Father's Day. A karaoke party broke out at his house. His wife is a little tipsy. And he's like, it's a game time decision. We're like, dude, go take care of your thing. I told him to play Humpty Dance for me because that's my jam. R.I.P. to Shock G, by the way. Of Digital Underground, my favorite karaoke song. I don't even need the words. I can walk around a room and do it. It's amazing. It's a sight to see. Maybe if you're nice to me in Canton during the Midwest Fantasy Expo and you approach me at a bar and there happens to be karaoke, I will do the Humpty Dance for everyone in attendance. But until then, this is all about our guest, Mr. Sal Leto. We love Sal. He comes on every year and does our Tinder episode. So Sal, I know this is going to be a little different than before because rumor has it you have a lady friend in your life now.
Yeah. I did. I've been seeing somebody for the last little bit of time. I guess I will just say it that way. But I also feel like maybe we might have to update this to Dynasty Hinge because Hinge is now the app that I think more people are using than Tinder. They're all pretty scary, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to be back. And by the way, very sad that the Humpty Hump did pass away not too long ago. We did lose that gentleman. So
it's been a rough year in hip hop with DMX and some others, and then Shock G. I was like, ugh, really? Humpty himself? I love how people thought he was two different people. That's the best part. Like, how could you think it's just a guy with a freaking big nose and glasses? He looks the same exact way. It's a good IQ test for people if they think they're two different people. And I'm like, really? So anyway,
people are fooled by Superman just by putting on glasses. So I mean, we're not smart. We're not very smart when it comes to disguises.
That is very, very true.
Clark Kent.
Yes, Clark Kent.
Is a different person.
Are you kidding?
I think he's obviously kidding. Come on.
I can't believe this. Yes, we knew this. Tyler, how was your Father's Day? You showed off your Father's Day gift earlier when we logged into our StreamYard. So please explain.
I got a dinosaur T-Rex costume, the ones that blow up. And I've had a ton of fun with it today. So last year, my wife got me Scrubs Funko Pops. Scrubs is my favorite show of all time. Never saw it coming. And I'm sitting here thinking, nothing can top this gift. What does she do? She gets me this T-Rex costume and does it again. Like, just blows my mind. I didn't expect it. I've always told her, and I've seen them on TV and everything. I said, I want one of those. Like, I think they're on the Super Bowl this year during halftime show. And I told her, I'm like, God, I would love to have one of those. And I got one today, and I've had so much fun with it.
That is awesome. Sal, so you have what, three kids, right?
I have 3, yeah.
Yeah, how was your Father's Day?
It was great. My kids are, I don't know how old yours are, Doug. I know Tyler's a younger, right?
I have an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old, so they're young.
Yeah, so you have young ones also. Mine are 16, 19, and 21, right? And the 19 will be 20 in a couple of weeks. So it's a little different. They take me out now, right? So which is pretty
beautiful.
Cool. So of the 3 of them, the youngest one got called into work today for her job. So she couldn't come. We were going into New York City where my one daughter lives, my oldest. So her and I had breakfast, the young one, this morning at IHOP, and then my son and I drove into the city to where my oldest daughter is. We took a nice walk over to Broadway, had a nice brunch, and hung out. It was a nice day. It really was.
Nice. How alive is New York City? Does it feel kind of normal now? Because I just went out last weekend, and it was the first weekend I went out in like the public, where it felt like it was normal again. How's New York City looking?
So I think that New York City tourism is not back yet, right?
Sure.
That's just not a thing yet. So Times Square, that type of stuff, it's not what you once saw it be, but it'll come back. Everything's starting to open up. I work around the 5 boroughs. If you don't know, New York City's broken up into 5 boroughs. Everybody says Manhattan is New York City, but there's also Bronx, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Queens. And I work all around those boroughs. And it's been kind of normal for me. I mean, I work in the healthcare system like Tyler does, so I go to work every day. I've never had any days off, and my life has really been kind of normal. So
Yeah,
I feel lucky to say that because I know it's not the same for everybody. But yeah, New York City's coming back, and it'll be as strong as ever for sure.
Yeah, I was in
You work
Newport.
with is there like a Joe borough as well in New York, or is that just strictly in Cincinnati?
Yeah, no, Joe, that's my dude.
You know,
Joe
when they would
Biden.
always yell, "Where Brooklyn at?" And I'm like, "Aren't you from Brooklyn? You should know this." I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Now, are
That was
you
a
a Nets
terrible
fan?
joke.
Are you kind of sulking right now because you're a Nets fan?
No, I'm not a Net or a Knicks fan, really. I mean, I would root for the Knicks over the Nets, but so I grew up in the Jordan era. I was a huge Michael Jordan fan. That's like
Nice.
my favorite athlete of all time. Like, he's my favorite. So I was a call it a front runner, whatever you want to call it. I was my senior year of high school when they won the first championship, and I was a Jordan and Pippen guy. I was watching the Nets. I wouldn't have been sad if they won. I mean, I don't really care for Kyrie
I
shenanigans.
hate Kyrie. I'm a Celtics fan. Kyrie can jump off a freaking cliff.
But,
I don't care.
But I still like
All he
Durant.
has to do is go to the edge of the world. I mean, the world is
It
flat,
is flat, so he can just tumble
It is
over
flat.
right into space. Bye, buddy.
Yeah.
I did watch that game and see Durant lost. They lost the game by 1 inch. He shot a 2-pointer to tie the game with his foot on the line. If he hits the 3-pointer, game's over. Series is over.
Yeah. So, Sal, I got to get your take because it's the classic Jordan versus LeBron, right? Space Jam remake with LeBron, sacrilegious, disgusting. Like, what's your take?
You know what it is? It's like anything else. They remake everything in Hollywood.
Hollywood
TV
sucks.
shows.
There's no
Nobody has
originality.
an original thought. Nobody has an original idea. So they just remake everything. So interestingly enough, my son, my 19-year-old, he's a huge basketball fan. And he's a LeBron guy. And I like LeBron. I think LeBron, as far as his basketball talents, is one of the best that's ever played the game.
Absolutely.
What I tell my son all the time is there are things LeBron could do that Jordan couldn't do, right?
Yep.
But LeBron James has never had the I'm taking the game over killer instinct that when Jordan said, "It's mine, I'm taking it," he could do it like nobody else.
The closest thing we had was Kobe.
Yep. I was
The
saying there's
closest
only
thing we
been
had was
two
Kobe.
people I've ever seen where it's like they're shooting, like maybe Reggie Miller for shooting, but like defense and offense.
Kobe would take over like
it's
Jordan.
Kobe and it's Jordan. And I think that's it. I mean, LeBron is very close. I think LeBron just physical dominance is just unheard of. You're not that big and can do the things he does. Like Zion's maybe the closest. I don't think Zion can do the thing LeBron.
Yeah, Zion's he's like a baby D. He's got to grow into that body, right? He's got to learn how to use it. I'll tell you, the play against the Warriors end to end with the block and then scoring a basket is maybe one of the greatest single plays end to end I've ever seen in my life. That was impressive. To your point, Tyler, the athleticism to do that and to play deeper into his age at the level that he's playing at is impressive as well.
I do want to add one more thing before we get off basketball is Jordan, the flu game against Utah, when he just who is it? Scott was his name, the point guard that was on Jordan.
Byron Russell.
Byron Russell. When he lost his balance and Jordan shot that, like I think everybody in the world was like, "That's in, like that's over." Like, everybody knew, and I like that's the thing with Jordan, where it's like when he was on, it didn't matter if you had 5 guys on him, 10 hands in his face, like it's in.
Yeah, stone cold killer. Larry Bird had a little bit of that in him too.
Yeah, Larry Bird was just he was that killer outside shooter before, all these other guys came along. I don't even think there was originally 3-pointers when he first got into the league.
No, he used to lead the league with like 100.
Yeah, it's just but that was a fun era of basketball. I enjoy the basketball playoffs now. I'm really, really enjoying the hockey playoffs. The Islanders having a run right now.
Bruins. Ugh.
Yeah, that's right. Islanders took them out.
Yeah,
don't get me started on how I can't stand the Vegas Golden Knights style of play. Like we're not even going to get into that.
This is a football podcast, so we should probably move forward a little bit. So the way we're gonna do this, we're gonna take the startup ADP from DLF, which is Dynasty League Football, but today it's going to be DILF for Father's Day. Hey, so Dynasty League Football. Check it out. We're taking the June 2021 ADP. We're going to go through the rookies only. So we're going to give Sal where the rookies are being drafted in startup. And Sal is either going to swipe right at that ADP or swipe left. Now, Sal, just for the people that aren't in the dating game, like myself and Tyler, because we're on lockdown, give us an idea. Swiping left is you like it. Swiping right is you don't like it. Is that correct?
No, you're absolutely wrong.
Oh, okay. So you swipe right if you like it.
Swipe wife, right.
You swipe wife.
Don't
Yes,
swipe wife.
Yes,
Yeah.
Tyler and I swipe wife.
Right if you like, left if you don't like.
I accidentally did that one, and 3 kids later.
Yeah, that's the best thing that ever happened to you, pal.
Then he swiped wife. You know what happens.
Best
All
thing
right.
that ever happened to you.
So swiping
Probably.
right as we like, swipe left as we don't like. All right, so let's jump in and get into this thing. June 2021 ADP DLF, our first overall rookie coming in at the 108. Now we're using Superflex ranks because that's kind of the industry standard now in most dynasty leagues, I think. So if you don't like that, it's on the website. You can sort it on your own. But we're going Superflex because we're trendy. At the 108, currently
We're trendy.
I know, right? Currently in between Dak Prescott and Saquon Barkley resides the first overall pick in the draft this year, Mr. Trevor Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sal, this is a tough one. Is it swipe left, swipe right?
Who's he
and
around though? Like
I
what
just
players
said,
are he? Okay.
he's in between Dak Prescott and Saquon. Try listening, Tyler. Jesus. He's in between
I
Dak
download.
and Saquon.
I download. I don't listen.
Yeah, you're terrible. So Sal, give us your swipe left or swipe right and tell us why on Trevor Lawrence at the 108 in a 2 QB startup.
Well, first of all, I'm getting all the QBs that I can in a super flex, right? So, I mean, I'm Dak is right there. So if I've been unlucky now, I'm at the 108 and Dak went before this pick. Boy, I got to look at who are the other quarterbacks that are in that area, right? I'm only getting Dak ahead of him. Who's the next closest quarterback, Doug? Can I get the answer on that?
Yep, the next closest quarterback, he's at the 110 overall in startups, and that is Joe Burrow, followed by the 201, if you will, or 13th overall is Russell Wilson. So those are the two closest quarterbacks we're seeing after Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, so what I would do is I'm swiping left on Lawrence because I
What
want
about the hair? The hair
No.
doesn't
turn me on. I'm a bald man. And I don't need to live with that kind of envy in my life.
It's fair.
My point is this, like Joe Burrow, we already saw what Joe Burrow could do in this league, and they just gave him another weapon, right? Like, so that is going to be a pass happy offense. Lawrence is going to be good. He's got good young weapons, right? But I don't know that the coach is going to be altogether that good in the NFL. You got to prove to me that he could coach in the NFL, that his system is going to work. It might be a rough couple of years under him. So I like Burrow more. So in this case, I would swipe left, and then I'd see little Joey waiting for me. Hey, Joey, what's up, kid?
What up, kid? Tyler, what do you think? Are you taking Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence?
I mean, the age difference isn't quite extreme as people really know. I think it's like 2 years.
It's almost 3 years. So Lawrence is 21 years and 7 months. Joe Burrow is 24 years and 5 months. So it's about a 3-year difference in age.
The difference is they're quarterbacks. So these guys are going to play.
And one's coming off a major injury.
Yeah. I would say personally, I'm okay with it. I would swipe right. I'm a big Trevor Lawrence fan. I'm with Sal, though. I kind of have this shadow type feeling of like Urban Meyer. Is he even going to be good? I mean, he already seems like he's going to make Travis Etienne just or a chess piece, and it could ruin him because I think Travis Etienne can be a good runner, but it seems like Urban Meyer's kind of just messing with that flow. I'm okay with it. I mean, it's a risk. We all took that risk with Luck, and it paid off. And we haven't seen a quarterback like this since Luck. So yeah, I'm okay with it. And I'm a settler. So
I settled Minnesota. I say why not both, Tyler? We both play in the UDPL, and I have both of these quarterbacks.
Nope, we're just gonna move on.
I have Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. So
humble brag here.
Cool. I say both. But anyway,
I'm yet to succeed in trying to get 2 at a time off of Tinder. So good for you, Doug.
Thank you. All right, our next rookie coming in at number 20 overall is another quarterback. He was the 3rd overall pick in the draft. when the San Francisco 49ers moved up and traded the future to get him. And that is Trey Lance. So he is in between, to give you some context. He is right after A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill, and he is just before DeAndre Swift and Nick Chubb. There's also another rookie quarterback where we can lump them in, or I'd like to treat them separately because they're not the same person. We're not dating both of them at the same time. We're dating them individually here. So Trey Lance, number 20 overall in your Superflex startup. I love the fit here with San Francisco. I think he's going to be built for success right out of the gate with all those weapons. They sign Alex Mack. They sign Trent Williams long-term. They're going to protect him. Sal, do you feel the same? Are you looking at Trey Lance and being like, oh, man, swipe right. You're in a beautiful situation. I want a piece of that.
Yeah, and I just finished saying I'm going to get as many quarterbacks as I could take, right, in the Superflex. I'm not an age guy. I don't get hung up on age. And I look at Tyreek Hill being ranked below A.J. Brown. And I realize A.J. is going to have Julio across from him this year and taking some coverage off of him and stuff like that. But, I mean, I still think Tyreek should be ranked ahead of him or at least getting drafted ahead of him. So it's tough for me at this spot because I think that there's Tyreek in that situation with Mahomes. I could start getting some position players onto my roster. I've probably already taken one quarterback at this point. So it's going to be Trey Lance's job. Let's not be ridiculous. Garoppolo is going to be the placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
God, how old is Trey Lance?
Trey Lance just turned 21. He is 21.1 years old.
He's a baby.
Oh, my God. You know what? He's a sexy bastard. He's got those moves. I'm going to swipe.
He's from Minnesota.
He's from
Minnesota.
He's from Minnesota. I just changed my mind. Well, don't you know? I'm going to swipe right on him.
All right. He's swiping right on 3 Lances. I like it. Tyler, are you swiping right? Or are you swiping left on Trey? What's your feeling?
That is very early. And I know you talked about another quarterback being after him.
Mm-hmm.
What quarterbacks are before him? Like just before him?
It's the one we talked about earlier. The first quarterback before him is Russell Wilson.
Okay, so there's quite a gap between the two quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's next to Russell Wilson and he hasn't played a snap is crazy. At that price, honestly, I think I'm going to have to swipe left. I love Trey Lance. You guys all know I love Trey Lance. But at this price already, oh, man. Like, if I could get another quarterback plus, yeah, I'm all for that. And man, that is tough because I think I had an argument on Twitter tonight about who Trey Lance is. Somebody said he could be like Lamar Jackson, and I'm sitting here saying he's already a better thrower than Lamar Jackson.
That is very true. Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I think Lance is going to succeed. It's all on the risk. I mean, if you took Trevor Lawrence and you come back the next round, I don't think you should take Trey Lance. I mean, I think you should go a different route. Mm-hmm. It all depends on the situation, but at that price, I think I'm out.
Gotcha. I know you would take DeAndre Swift, who's right after him in ADP.
See, I don't know if I would.
Ooh, really? That's spicy because that's your guy.
It is, but like Sal explains, we're in the UDPL, and I'm in kind of quarterback hell. Like I've got Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I got the next quarterback we're going to talk about. Yes,
you had Deshaun Watson, so you were even worse position about a month ago.
Yes, and if you don't have that quarterback stability, like some random person Doug has,
if you only had Joe Burrow on that roster, I tell you,
there's a lot of bitterness if you can't tell. Yeah, if you got that stability in a Superflex, it allows tons of possibilities with the rest of your roster. So quarterbacks are king in Superflex. If you've got 2 young studs and you've got like a good older backup, like a Fitzmagic or I don't know who else would be a good backup, like Daniel Jones as a third quarterback. That would be fantastic. And then the rest of your roster is just you
can focus
value
on all the ancillary positions.
Like rookie drafts, you're going to hit value all the time
because you're not reaching for quarterbacks. You don't have to.
Yep. And in my startup strategy, it's always quarterback, and then done. You don't have to worry about it.
It's kind of like my Scott Fishbowl strategy, I think, this year. Because I know they're going to go flying off the board. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. So let's get into our next player. Just a couple spots down from Trey Lance is another rookie quarterback. Surprise. It's Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears, who apparently is not going to start. It's going to be Andy Dalton. If you even believe that, get out of here. So just to give you some context, DeAndre Swift, then it goes Justin Fields at 22, followed by a series of running backs, Nick Chubb, Cam Akers, Derrick Henry, J.K. Dobbins, and then the next quarterback off the board, who has a lot of question marks around him this year, is Aaron Rodgers. So Justin Fields, number 22 overall, ahead of some of those stud running backs. Sal, are you I know you say you like to draft the quarterbacks, but we're talking Chubb, Akers, Henry, and even Dobbins, who I think is a little highly ranked here, in my personal opinion. Are you going to lean running back here? So you swiping left or you swiping right on Mr. Fields?
So, yeah, I mean, listen, I didn't have the all that information in front of me when I swiped right on Trey Lance. So now it feels like I swiped right on Trey Lance. I've been talking to him in the DMs, and I set up a date, and then I came across this beautiful.
You're ghosting him, aren't you?
Beautiful Justin Fields. So now I'm blocking Trey Lance. I'm like, hey,
you could. Oh my God, that is so bad.
Because
so
I really
mean.
do think that. I think that Trey Lance. Justin Fields should be going ahead of Trey Lance. Personally, I think length of career, Justin Fields is going to have a better career than Trey Lance. So if I could have gone back in time and taken a running back or a wide receiver where I did swipe on Trey Lance, then I'd be going Justin Fields here.
No second date for Trey Lance.
Yeah, it's like,
he's young. He'll rebound.
I start doing things at that first date that turns them off, so that way they don't request me back. So which is basically just show up.
Sabotage.
Just show up.
Just be showing up.
You and me the same.
Usually does that. So I'll be honest with you, Henry, I've owned Henry in every league that I'm in it from startup to one because he's just my favorite. He's too long in the tooth at this point. Of course, he'll probably have another good season, but How many more of those? I'm a Cam Akers guy. I think Akers is going to be a stud. I hope.
You're talking to two Florida State fans, so I'm not going to disagree with you.
But I'm going to swipe right on Justin Fields because I feel like I made a mistake earlier swiping right now on Trey Lance.
I like it. Tyler, are you swiping left or are you swiping right on Mr. Fields?
I really like Fields, and I actually, you hear about, there's the curse of the Chicago quarterbacks, or there's a reason why he fell. But then you hear about these teams wanting to trade up for him. They're
Minnesota,
sitting like the Vikings. Mm-hmm. If the Vikings were to get him instead of the Bears, people would be like, "Oh man, I'm all in." But you're not going to see him as soon as you're going to see him this year. I've been an Andy Dalton supporter for my whole life because I have to. Part of the Redhead Club, you just have to. And I don't think he's going to last long. I'd give it a week. And I mean, they play the Rams week 1. I heard on a podcast the sacrificial
Rams
Ram per se, and I think Fields is going to start week 2. All I've heard out of camp is positive stuff about Fields. Mm-hmm. He's got that dog mentality. He's a guy who's going to rip your heart out if you do him wrong. He's going to work his tail off. All positive. I mean, this guy's got the right attitude. I'm loving it. I'm happy I have him in a league, and that's the only league I have him in.
I was able to get my only field share in my very last rookie draft. It was a single QB dynasty. We had the 101. We picked Najee Harris, who's coming up here soon. And then at the 201, we already have Joe Burrow. It's single QB, but I was like, you know what? I don't own Fields anywhere, and we were good at receiver. I wasn't in love with some of the other players there. So we took Fields at the 201 because part of it was like, I don't have a share of him anywhere, and I really want to own him somewhere. So that was part of the decision making, and it never hurts to have a potentially really good backup quarterback as well. Burrow was our only really startable asset on that team. So
and Fields has that Konami code he
ran a 4.4. Dude can fly.
He's fast. He's huge. I mean, he
played through injury in the championship game or the playoff game.
He's looked up to Cam Newton his whole entire life, and honestly, I think he's a better thrower right now than Cam Newton probably ever was.
I would have loved the Pats to moved up to get him because it would have been perfect. He could have learned under Cam for a year or 6 weeks, whatever, and it would have been great. But Pats stayed still.
Now you got number 50, Mac Jones.
Number 50, the Daddy Mac,
the Mac Daddy, the Daddy Mac. He wore his uniform backwards the other day. No, I'm just kidding. No, he didn't. All right. If you're old, you'll get that joke, like Sal.
Crisscross will make you
jump. That's right. Warm it up,
Great
Chris.
Song.
I'm about to. All right, let's get on to our next rookie. We got a little bit of a gap here. We are going to get to our first non-quarterback, and that is Jamar Chase. So he's coming in at 32 overall here in your startups. Now, to give you, again, we talked about J.K. Dobbins to Aaron Rodgers as the next quarterback. He's got 2 receivers in front of him. The first one is CeeDee Lamb, followed by Stephon Diggs, and then Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and then Jamar Chase, who's ahead of DeAndre Hopkins by a spot. So this is a really interesting, I think, I've been doing a lot of redraft analysis because we're kind of switching over on trophy time. And Jamar Chase is like the wide receiver 20 in redraft, which to me is super rich. In Dynasty, I love Jamar Chase, especially in Superflex. I was able to get him at the 105 in a couple of drafts, and I was pumped. So for me, like in this particular spot here, I think it's a swipe right. But I want to know what Sal thinks is, hey, he's got Joe Burrow. We talked about him earlier, how you like Joe Burrow. Do you like Jamar Chase just as much to maybe date him for a little while, see what he's all about, keep him around on your roster for a long time? Talk to me, Sal.
Yeah, he better not bring around his friend T. Higgins, right? Because that might be a problem right off the top.
What if you do a double date, though?
What's up? But oh shit, I didn't know your roommate looked like this. What's going on? But how close is CeeDee Lamb in this?
CeeDee Lamb is 4 spots above him. It goes Lamb, Diggs, Kelce, Kittle, and then Jamar.
Well, if CeeDee Lamb is there, then I'm swiping right on CD before him. I mean, I think CeeDee Lamb has a shot to be a top 5.
I just love that I was able to trade for CeeDee Lamb from you and Bartab, and that was beautiful. So thank you.
That's right. I said everybody's up except for him, and I gave him away. But you paid up for him. So.
I paid, and I got Jamar Chase in the auction. My team is looking nice. So
my team over there is, I don't know if atrocious is strong enough word for that team, but
it looks like my team when I took it over a few years ago.
I thought your team would be so much better after I left, but no.
I never recovered from whoever drafted that team or auctioned that team because I took it over right after the startup auction, and it was a mess. And I've made some runs here or there. Last year, I think I made the playoffs. I traded a little bit too much away to get Breeze because I needed a second quarterback. And looking at that offseason, I was like, Jimmy Garoppolo, that's my only quarterback in this league. Blow it up. So I traded everybody. Mark Hill way overpaid me for Ezekiel Elliott. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, you got a nice price for Zeke.
I miss that league. I mean, there's a couple leagues like Pigs 3. I left way too early.
My God, you had such a good team in Pigs 3.
My Pigs 3 team finally was just settled, and I left because I joined a different league, and then that league I had to actually leave the league I left Pigs for because of not being able to make it to the in-person draft and all that. So it was like, I should never left. And Bar Tab was another one where, I mean, there was no entry fee. And I just think it's the John Bosch effect in auctions that it really rises my anxiety.
It wasn't bad this year.
I just think it's knowing John Bosch is behind me. Like he's like right waiting for me.
You're looking at the clock. It's got 5 minutes left, and you're like, I know John's going to bid me up. He's got too much money. He's going to bid me up. I know it's going to happen. And it wasn't that bad this year. I was actually like, wow, my anxiety isn't spiking like it has in years past. Where I was screaming at my screen, MFing people for bidding me up with 5 minutes left, every time. That's
how you know John Bosch is great at auctions. It's just because in the back of your mind, you constantly think he's somewhere. He's waiting.
And then you see in the Voxer chat, don't let this price go. Somebody bid him up.
He's a table talking son of a bitch. I think I ended up with Justin Fields in that auction. I mean, I don't know. I got too many leagues. But Pigs Elite 3 has been in existence 3 years, and I have a second and third place finish, man.
That's beautiful.
I need to get a win in that one. And last year, I was in the final. It's a 4-team final. All 3 teams I was going against had Alvin Kamara. So remember the Kamara.
7 touchdown or whatever it was.
I came all the way back, and I was ahead of everybody going to the Buffaloes game, but I was going against Josh Allen, and I couldn't. That was one person to beat me.
My team was so good. I had Herbert. I think my second quarterback might have been Burrow.
Yeah, your team was stacked.
Akers, Swift. I had Antonio Gibson.
I would have never let that team go. Sorry, Tyler, not to rub it in.
It's not a fan of success.
I had Hawkinson. Yeah,
I don't like winning.
I like rebuilding and then just leaving it.
Oh, you're an idiot.
You just like to hand it off.
Wait, what's that last part, Sal?
Just that you're an idiot.
Well, I got to edit 2 parts. Hold on, let me check the time of where we're at.
Here's what I'm looking at. Here's what I'm figuring is that everybody has already swiped right on CD Lamb, right? Like I'm here, it's like CD Lamb's inbox is filled with
so many likes.
So while I've swiped right on him, he's just no. So now I'm staring at Jamar Chase because he's definitely gone by the time Jamar gets around, because no sane person is taking Jamar with CD there. That's just my opinion. I like the connection with Burrow and Chase, right? I like the idea of that, and I held out earlier in this draft or auction and didn't take Lawrence because I would have rather had Burrow. So why not pair them up together? I'm going to swipe right on Mr. Chase.
I like it. Tyler, I know you're swiping right on Chase here, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I love Chase.
Same.
I think he's a stud.
A lot of people smarter than us have him ranked as the number one receiver in these last two classes, which is part of – and CeeDee Lamb is in that class. So I think Jamar Chase is the real deal. So I'm swiping right as well. So let's get on to our next rookie. He is right behind Jamar Chase. Now, in your single QB leagues, at the 101. So you either have Jamar Chase or you have Najee Harris. So Najee Harris is 33 overall in startups right now, just ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Jones, Deshaun Watson still up there, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I know Najee Harris seems to be, I know a lot of people love the prospect. A lot of people love that he's in Pittsburgh. I'm not necessarily afraid of the offensive line, but I know he can be a little polarizing. It looks like he's going to touch the ball 250 plus times. I guess from a comparison with running backs, do you like Najee Harris? Are you swiping right over him, over Aaron Jones, and over Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Sal? That's really where the question is.
That's an easy swipe right for me. First of all, he says he's going to be touching the ball, so that's great. Want to swipe right on that? That's definitely something you want to swipe right on. I saw a nice reception the other day in practice. So he's going to be catching the ball as well. Tyler, come back to us, Tyler. Come back.
Is he using dude wipes while he's swiping the ball?
Yeah, whatever.
Right.
I mean,
actually, we're going to break to our next sponsor. Yeah, by Manscaped. Manscaped crop mops.
I think Najee Harris is he landed in the perfect spot. There was no secret that that's who Pittsburgh was going to go for in his draft, and he landed there. And I'm not. The Steelers might be my least favorite team in the NFL, right?
I'm not a fan either, but it is what it is.
I'm excited to see what he's going to do in that spot because they need to get a balance back in that offense, and he is going to be that balance.
Tyler, what say you?
Well, I have no shares of Najee Harris. I've had a couple chances to get him, and I'm probably going to regret it, and I'm probably not going to ever own him, and he's going to destroy my teams. Another player that played for the Steelers, exact same thing, Le'Veon Bell. Never had a share of him when he was in his prime, and he destroyed me week to week when I was going against him. So I would swipe right as much as I could, and give me all the Najee.
All right. I think this next one is going to be a heavy swipe right as well. This is the belle of the ball, the athletic freak, the unicorn. He's the number 3 tight end off the board here in startups. He's 39th overall. It's Kyle Pitts, 20.7 years old. He's just a baby. Julio Jones is now out of the picture for Atlanta. We've got Kyle Pitts with Matt Ryan. So to give you some more context, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kyle Pitts, Ryan Tannehill, and then followed by Calvin Ridley, Michael Thomas, Antonio Gibson, and Zeke Elliott. So, Sal, are you going all in on a tight end on these dates? Or are you like, you know what? I can get value at the position otherwise. I'm going to go with a stud receiver like Ridley or
Sal's
Thomas.
Face has you set him up so much for that.
Am I going all in on a tight end in these dates? Well, I mean,
are you going to turn a tight end into a wide receiver?
I guess.
Hey.
I'm going to have to change this to like.
So, I am a believer that the Kyle Pitts mania is just it is a bit much. I'm in a 101 chat for the SFB.
Oh my God.
People are like, where would you take Kyle Pitts? I'm like, he won't be there at 101. He'll already be gone. That's how overhyped everybody is on him.
He's the 0.0 pick.
Based on those names that you said, I if thinking back, and I know Helaire is there, and I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going underrated this year because of the struggles
I agree.
that he had in year one. So he's a really good value. Mm-hmm. But does he give you the positional separation that a Kyle Pitts could give you if he's this generational talent that everybody's giving? No, he doesn't, right? So the only other name in that group is his teammate, Calvin Ridley. That gives me a little bit of pause. That's the only other one. But again, Calvin Ridley, let let me see what he's going to be without. Well, Julio was almost never on the opposite side.
The splits with and without Julio are both really good for Ridley.
Yeah. So I'm going to say just because Kelsey's going to age out soon, right?
Oh, for sure.
We're not going to have him forever. I
Sadly.
want to get my hands on this particular tight end. So I'm going to swipe right on that tight end, and
You're going to grab that tight end here.
And hope that I could hold on for dear life. Yeah. So I'm swiping right.
Tyler, I assume you love Pitts.
Oh, geez.
We
He's my
sold the
most owned
farm.
rookie.
We sold the farm to get Pitts. So
And
I know you
it's
love him.
been worth it. I mean, the value's only gone up since we've drafted him.
That is true. That is true.
We gave up a lot, but it actually looks very small compared to what we could actually get today.
Yeah,
especially after.
I think Kyle Pitts is the guy that you go on a first date with, and then you just become obsessed.
He's the type of guy that you're just like sitting there, partier, young. You're just like, all right, and like pays for your stuff, and you're just like, wow, this is like the life. This is the dream, and you just hope to God that you can hang on to the share.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from the unicorn himself, Kyle Pitts. We're all swiping right, hoping that we get a ring out of it. We're looking to marry up.
Oh, I do want to say one thing about Calvin Ridley when you're talking.
Sure.
I had a thought the other day.
That's
Calvin
nice.
Ridley could either go full Antonio Brown. This is about when Antonio Brown went Antonio Brown in his
like
career.
1,800 yards and 15 touchdowns and 130 receptions.
Or he just stays where he's at. He just stays pat. He doesn't go up any. And Pitts is the guy who goes up. That's a risk also. I mean, his ADP is going up through the roof. He could be a major sell.
Just my Russell Gage.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm an OG Russell Gage stan, if you didn't know. So anyway, let's move on to our next rookie. Coming in at number 48 overall, just after a couple of other running backs. So the aforementioned Antonio Gibson, we've got Ezekiel Elliott, we've got Miles Sanders, we've got Joe Mixon, just ahead of Travis Etienne, who is just ahead of Austin Eckler. So he's right in that group of running backs where I like a lot of these players. I love Gibson. I still like Zeke, at least for a couple of years. Miles Sanders, I like Joe Mixon. I know he's frustrating. But Travis Etienne, Tyler talked about him earlier. Is he going to be the gadget guy? Is he going to be the run? Is he going to share carries with Robinson? The wild card here is Urban Meyer. It's kind of like that. Travis Etienne is dating someone where you look at the picture and you're like, oh, they're really good looking, but there's no details in the profile. So you don't know anything about them, but you like them.
That is way too good of an explanation.
Right. So you're like, wow, this chick's pretty hot. I'm just going to like them. But you don't know. They could be a psycho, a total off the rails Jekyll and Hyde, but you're just going by the looks. I feel that is Travis Etienne here. Sal, would you agree?
I feel like you know too much about those profiles.
I was thinking that too, Sal. I mean, maybe we need to go
I did my research before this episode, okay?
We need to get on the phone with
I'm just saying,
Mrs.
my inbox is fire right now.
Mrs. Eddie, we need to get a hold of her. Just warn her. Maybe just say, hey, pool Doug. He's spending too much time on the pool, taking pictures. Just watch it.
My shirt off, been working out.
Whoa,
just saying.
Sunday night.
Doug never wears sleeves. Even when he was
sleeves.
big. Even when he was big, Doug.
It's true.
So the Big D. Anyway, Big D.
Hey.
Where did we go?
Tyler just died.
Antonio Gibson was in that group?
Antonio Gibson. Yep. It was Ezekiel Elliott, Miles Sanders, Joe Mixon, and then
right
Travis Etienne.
So I agree with
Eckler after.
Yeah, Eckler. He's gonna be one of those guys that just keeps proving me wrong. If he's healthy and they intelligently play him the role that he played 2 years ago, so that he could stay healthy, then he could be what he was, which was a top 5 PPR running back. But he's not the guy that's got to get the ball every down. Of that grouping, it's Gibson for me, right? First and foremost, out of the rest of them. So if Gibson's there, I'm going to pass on Etienne and get Gibson. But I do think that Etienne, I think Robinson's going to eventually move on in a near future.
I mean, they're not paying him anything, so.
Yeah, I think he's going to move on in the next year or so, and it'll be Etienne. So you might have to wait a little bit. Like, you might swipe right on Etienne, and it'll take him a little bit of time to get back.
Because he's got a lot of interest.
Yeah, you'll be like, oh, and then one day it'll be like, oh, I swiped on this dude like a month ago, and he's just getting back to me today. I'd be like, whatever, he looks good. And he stopped posting that picture with his friend, which was James Robinson.
Yeah,
he stopped posting that picture. Now I know it's him.
Come to find out, it's actually a bot, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, but the Russian bots are pretty hot. So.
Can you send me money?
At that price, I'm actually gonna go left. And the issue is with me is I love the next running back we're gonna probably talk about. I'd rather have him over Etienne, and I actually have more shares of Etienne just because here I'm thinking in home leagues, hey, Travis Etienne's he's a household name. Nope, he's taken over Etienne, and I think people are starting to realize, like, hey, with Urban Meyer, there's a lot of risk. There's a lot more risk than people realize, and it could be a trap, or it could be Alvin Kamara 2.0, and we could have gotten a steal.
Could be an Admiral Akbar situation and totally be a trap. That is very true. So let's move on to our next player. Coming in at 61 overall, it is our next QB off the board, which is right from your home state, Sal. It's Zach Wilson of the New York Jets. Now, he is going just after Darren Waller, Amari Cooper, and Mike Evans, and he's going right before Matt Ryan, David Montgomery, Juju Smith-Schuster, Brandon Ayuk, and Kirk Cousins. So to give you some quarterback, it's Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins after him, and the quarterback going ahead of him is Matthew Stafford and Baker Mayfield. So I kind of like Zach Wilson here. I mean, he's got a pretty face. His mom's kind of hot, so maybe it's a package deal. I don't know. But I think Zach Wilson in Superflex leagues ended up being a value for some people at the 107, 108, where people were not really digging his game. What are your thoughts on that, Sal? You swiping right on that pretty face from the state of Utah?
First, my thoughts on his mom. Can you just chill out and let it be your son's time? Like, seriously, just stop.
That's what moms do.
No, this is
it's like a LaMelo Ball type thing, or the
she's
Ball
trying
family.
too hard. If you're in New York, she's trying way too hard. It's like, oh, here's my 15 minutes. All right, but is it up yet? So anyway, he is a good-looking kid. He's been all over the New York Islander games. A lot of the Jets linemen have been there with him. He's making his way around the city, which is nice. That's Long Island, but I like him over those quarterbacks in Dynasty for sure. I don't know about year one, but in Dynasty, I like him over those quarterbacks. Waller gives me a little bit of pause, but I already swiped right on Field, so maybe I can afford to pass on Waller at this point. What were the wide receivers that were in this neighborhood?
It was Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, and Juju Smith-Schuster, and Brandon Ayuk. And
Ayuk is the one.
And T. Higgins is right there, too.
See, Ayuk is the one that could be.
Those two receivers I would rather have over Wilson. I think it's not even a question.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying because it's the Jets, right?
Even Chase Claypool is a little bit behind Higgins. He's 2 spots behind him.
I'd rather have the quarterback over Claypool.
Okay.
I know I'm a Notre Dame fan, but man, he needs to grow up per se off the field.
He's been following the Juju thing. He's been a little immature. Yeah.
So here's what I'm saying.
Down.
Zach Wilson then becomes like, he looks good, but I've gone down this road with the ones that look good before. His location is terrible, and it's like,
you're too far away for me to date you.
Yeah, so I think I end up with
the thing with Wilson is I really like Elijah Moore. Now, is it going to be a situation where Elijah Moore makes him a better quarterback, or is it going to be Zach Wilson makes him a better receiver? I think in the coming future, and personally, I think Elijah Moore is a plus Jarvis Landry when Jarvis Landry was Jarvis Landry. So I think that could be a situation where there could be a little fool's gold.
I'll try to get a lot of Elijah Moore. I like him too.
His stock has been up though. To the Twitter chatter on Elijah Moore the last couple of weeks.
A player that has been kind of hidden, Rondale Moore.
I agree. Similar ADPs.
Those two were neck and neck, and then you haven't heard anything. All you heard was Cliff is going to make specific plays for him. There's a lot of rookies in this ADP that are like, I should go buy this guy. I put out Gainwell as a major buy for me on Twitter because he's on, he hasn't been talked about. And yet you've heard the coaching staff say they're not going to be committing to a 3-down back.
Well, I'll tell you my thing on Elijah Moore. He's the wide receiver that the Giants should have taken when they took Kadarius Toney. So now they're gonna have to watch that in New York for however many years. Now, what that has done now is make Toney a real value.
Oh, he's fallen to the end of second rounds. Yeah.
He's the first round draft pick. I get it. That doesn't always amount to anything. We've seen first round draft picks.
N'Keal Harry.
Now, will Toney be wearing shoes? That's the biggest thing I've heard on him throughout camp is like, oh, he's got his shoes off. Oh, he's
if
not
it makes him play better, then he can play barefoot. I don't give a shit. Remember Shoelace from Michigan? Remember, like, hey, if you play better
Bernard Robinson,
just to go out there with your shoes untied, I don't give a damn.
Yeah,
wear those weird shoes.
Tom Dempsey kicks with half a foot. Who cares?
Wear that shoe that just is shaped as a foot with some spikes on it.
Those things freak me out.
Yeah, they honestly do. Like, how can you wear them? I hate things between my tiny toes.
They look weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not apologizing. If you wear those shoes, congrats, but not for me. All right, let's get to our next.
Hold on, we got a question quick.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Scott Kraft. Sal, we'll let you answer this since you're the guest and you are very knowledgeable. How do you feel about people drafting St. Brown over Toney in rookie drafts? You guys all know my answer. I'm okay with it. So, Sal, what's your answer?
Yeah, so I think St. Brown's got a lot less competition than Toney does in his offense. I like Daniel Jones a little bit more than I like Goff at this point, but it's going to be opportunity. Do the Giants force feed Kadarius Toney because they took him so high, or does he just become the guy that we all thought he was going to be when he was overdrafted, so to speak? So I don't mind it. It's I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Amon-Ra St. Brown I thought would be better in college and better coming out higher ranked. I was contractually obligated to mention Jeremy Ruckert every time I'm on.
Oh yeah, of course.
So when Jeremy was a senior in high school and I watched all the high school games that he was in, all-star games, I watched Trevor Lawrence back then. I watched Amon-Ra St. Brown, and when I watched him play, and maybe you say, oh, it's the stature. He reminded me of Steve Smith because of his attitude as well. He reminded me of that type of fiery kid. So if that is still there, which I'm sure it is, and he comes from a family of studs, right? Have you ever seen what this guy's father looks like?
He's a beast.
And his brother, he could be a little bit better, maybe.
Hey, 4-year breakout. That's what's coming. Equinemius St. Brown. Watch out now.
So I don't mind it. Where are they in the ADP, Doug? Where are they in relative to each other? That's something you could get quickly.
Toney and St. Brown.
I can take a look. Keep talking. I'll get it.
I'll talk a little bit about him. For me, St. Brown, I actually had way ahead of Toney as a prospect. I'm with you, Sal. 5-star guy coming out. St. Brown. When you hear the family videos of like, oh, who's the better receiver, and all the guys are like, oh, it's Amon-Ra, and then Amon-Ra goes, it's me. Like, that's the attitude I want out of a receiver, especially at his size at 6'1", 195, phenomenal route runner. Like, Dan Campbell is gonna love this guy because him and Dan Campbell have the kneecap biting type mentality, and I think Amon-Ra. people all. What's the other receiver there?
Quintez.
Cephas.
Yes. I honestly,
Tyrell Williams.
Give me all the St. Brown I can get right now, because he's going to be dirt cheap right now. And in season, when he's catching 6 balls for 70, 80 yards, that's when you're going to just be like comfortable with him in your starting lineup, because he's going to get you points in PPR leagues.
So it looks like Kadarius Toney right now in DLF ADP startup is going around the 151 spot. Bacardi, shout out.
Wow.
Right ahead of Mike Williams and Gabriel Davis positionally. T.Y. Hilton and Christian Kirk, he's also going before them. And then on the very same page, Amon St. Brown is about 15 players down, so about 165. He's going after Brian Edwards and before the crazy, wacky Cole Beasley, as well as Paris Campbell and McCole Hardman. So I love St. Brown in that area.
Let's just say both. Both of them seem like their values.
Yeah, Toney in most of our Superflex leagues, Tyler, was going late second
210.
round, 210, and St. Brown was around 304, maybe even earlier sometimes.
St. Brown was earlier than Toney in that league, just because Garrett Price with Dynasty Nerds, if you follow them, he's a big fan of Amon-Ra St. Brown, big fan of college football, watched. Garrett is a guy who goes out and gets his guy, which I love. and St. Brown was his guy. I hated it because I wanted him at 210, and yet I ended up with Tony and then traded Tony because I did not feel great about myself personally drafting Tony.
Yeah, I think Tony is a case of, I mean, might be a terrible comparison, but I think we all remember when Josh Allen was drafted by the Bills, and in Superflex leagues, he slid to the second round.
201, 204.
And people took him just because he was a quarterback, and that paid off. I mean, Tony, first round capital, you look at his tape, the kid was electric. Now, the breakout age and the production it's not in his favor when comped to other rookies.
His reception perception is god awful.
Yeah, it's not good. So he's a very polarizing player, but I think in the late second round, I mean, that's kind of where you got to get those guys. And if you hit on him, it's huge. And if you don't, it's a late second round pick. So that's how I feel about it.
I do want to give a shout out. I just signed up for Matt Harmon's reception perception, the website. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. You get to enter into a Discord chat, which is fantastic. I mean, everybody's super nice. You have a question, they'll help you out. And I mean, I love being in this Discord chat.
Is he who's that Matt Harmon? New guy in the industry?
New guy, yeah.
I think he's new. He's got only like a couple of hundred followers.
Yeah, he's following my lead. He lost a bunch of weight, got into fantasy football now.
Did he used to have a show called Backyard Banter?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. You should go listen to episode 50, first 10 minutes, the guest that's on.
Oh,
I think I was on that show too.
It's maybe me. I'm live, not you, not when you mailed in friggin' him and I opened the show for 10 minutes. All right, Tyler? It's him and me. I heard you. Not as impressive as me.
All right. Let's do a few more rookies here for time's sake. I'm gonna go over our next one, who Tyler really is chomping at the bit to swipe right on. So just after Zach Wilson, who's 61st overall, we have Javonte Williams from Denver at 64th overall. He's ahead of Juju. He's ahead of Ayuk and T. Higgins. From a running back perspective, this is kind of a dead zone. For running backs, it's a lot. He's after Josh Jacobs. He's right after David Montgomery. And he is before our next running back is Chris Carson, all the way down towards the bottom of the page, and Kareem Hunt.
Oh my God, I can't swipe right. I'm giving him a super like. You know what a super like is? You only get like 5 of those a day.
Or you pay for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you have the monthly subscription, you get 5 a day. I'm just saying, like, I hate the fact that he landed in Denver, right? Because I'm a Raiders fan.
Do we though?
No, just because he's a Raiders fan.
I do as a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
I don't hate it for him as a player. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to take that position over immediately, and I want him over every one of those running backs that you just named.
Yeah, absolutely,
easily. So I'm like, super like, what's up?
Tyler, I know you're super liking as well.
Oh my God. Like the kid's 20, gonna be 21, like close to 21.
He's 21.1.
Yeah, and there's
Happy
already
birthday.
rumors of him beating out Melvin Gordon. Like there's rumors already. Denver, if they have any cap troubles, Melvin Gordon could be a cap casualty, and they would not lose.
Or if they try to get Aaron Rodgers.
They would not lose. They'd only gain positivity for that team because, man, Javonte Williams is a beast.
You guys remember when Royce Freeman was a first-round pick in rookie drafts? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Don't you dare put that on us.
All right, let's move on to our next rookie. He is a wide receiver from Tim's Philadelphia Eagles. It's Devonta Smith. So he's coming out. I don't have the numbers. I'm going to give DLF some feedback when they bring up their ADP. Just have the numbers next to the name. I had to do all these in my head. It's a pain in the ass. Anyway, he's in the early 70s. It's Devonta Smith. He is just behind Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, and just ahead of Deontay Johnson, Julio Jones, and Robert Woods at the wide receiver position. I think there's a lot of opportunity for Smith in year one. He's a little skinnier. I like the girls a little thicker. So I don't know if I'd swipe left on him from appearance wise, but he's got the production. So Sal, what do you think? Is he too skinny for you? Or are you just going to be like, you know what? I can dig it.
Here's the problem. He's another guy that I can't stand the fact that he plays for Denver. Cortland Sutton is right there. And I've been on other shows and I've said that Cortland Sutton is the undervalued steal of startups right now because it's like people just forgot. And Cortland Sutton, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think he could be the number 1 overall ranked wide receiver in Dynasty. That's how good I think he is. That's how I think that
super
like, yeah, no.
Somewhere Nick Whalen is just jumping for joy.
So
that South Park gif.
That's
Randy.
my hot take. My hot take right there. So if Cortland Sutton's there, I like you, Devonta, but I passed. And I'm sick of these Eagles weapons. Everybody is
quote unquote weapons.
They bring back this 35 guys deep in every position, and all of them get a chance to play because they all get hurt. Can't take it anymore with the Eagles. Give me Courtland Sutton.
All right, Tyler, this is a tough one.
So I've actually been in a trade discussion with good friend Shane Manila, and I've actually asked him if he would do Judy, who he has, for Devonta Smith.
They're right next to each other.
I was gonna say I like Judy, and Smith has a Justin Jefferson feel to me. People are kind of doubting him. They're kind of lower on him, like, oh, similar. Well, he's with the Eagles and all that stuff. Smith's tape is awesome. Like, next to Judy's tape was great his rookie year. Smith, I think, was better his senior year.
He's the Black Widow spider on our Animal Comp episode. Just saying.
Seriously, Smith's tape was so good, and he's just, I get he's small and skinny, but the bend he has and the ability to do what he can do in routes is,
he can twerk it low.
Awesome. Like, Smith is so smooth. I can't, if Hurts is decent, Smith is going to succeed, just because Smith, I think, is going to be that between, the 10, 20, like the yardage throwing. I think I just don't know. I think Smith is going to be Justin Jefferson this year, and I've got that feeling. So I'm going to swipe right. I love Smith. I love the doubt people have in him, just because that has been his career. Like, Smith has been doubted on his whole entire career, and what he did to Ohio State should be wanted for tons of crimes for what he did to those corners. And he got hurt at half, and it was 200 yards. Like, that's insane.
It was like Thanksgiving dinner. He was just carving them up left and right.
And he's so smart. He's so good at what he does. His craft is so good. Eagles, that's my only worry. The Eagles, because the Eagles have a tendency to destroy value in fantasy. They did it with Miles Sanders, Jalen Reagor. They're doing it with Dallas Goedert.
JJ Arthega, what?
Oh, man. Apparently, he's looked,
I don't care,
like a person in camp. Like,
he's been tight end at this point. I don't care.
And I like Smith. I just feel like he can't not succeed. So I'm all in on Smith. But what's your opinion? Judy or Devonta Smith? Who would you rather have?
I would take. I like the point you made about Smith. So I'll stick in with Courtland Sutton, but I would take him over Judy. And I think Judy he's gonna be a good wide receiver too. I do think he'll be a good wide receiver too. But yeah, no, Smith has that crazy playability.
Devonta could be the alpha on his team, where as long as Courtland Sutton's there, Judy's not going to be that.
So that's my opinion with Judy. Is Judy could be an Amari Cooper, like, the career arc could be the same. Cooper had that career where it was like 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, some injuries. And then he moved on to Dallas and became that dude. I think Judy could be the same, where it's like, until either Sutton leaves or Judy leaves, I think Judy has some years where you're going to be stuck kind of like, oh, I wish I could see more out of this guy.
So 2018. So I'm a Raiders fan. We've mentioned it a couple of times. And Amari Cooper was always like slightly disappointing. He was good, right?
Yeah.
But he was slightly disappointing. And we got a first-round draft pick for him, which was amazing. So my best friend is a Cowboys fan. He's like, hey, we're going to go to the Thanksgiving game 2018. So we fly to Dallas. They're playing the Washington football team. And this son of a bitch, Amari Cooper, scores 3 touchdowns with me in attendance. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Who is this guy?
Who is this son of a Coop? They're all cheering. I'm like, who is he? I never seen him before. And so, yeah, I was a little hurt by that. But guess who Dallas plays on Thanksgiving Day this year?
Oh, is it the Las Vegas Raiders?
It's the Las Vegas Raiders, and we are going back.
Revenge game narrative, Amari Cooper.
I'm going to boot at Amari Cooper till the cows come home.
Nice.
By the way, just as people know, Derek Carr is the most hated quarterback in Superflex leagues, but
and
yet
he's decent.
He's decent.
He's
like
decent.
That.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
He is my number 2 quarterback on almost every single.
He is the picture boy for QB2.
Yeah,
like that's your guy. That's who
him.
You want.
Baker Mayfield is standing next to him, trying to squeeze in next to him.
I have the 2 of them on one roster together, but I also have Herbert and what's the other guy?
Who's the
guy?
A humble Greg.
The guy who played for the Jets and went to the Panthers. I got that guy too.
Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold.
Sam
So
Darnold.
I have all four of those guys on one roster. But no, if I play in 12 dynasty leagues, it's 12 or 13. He's on 10 or 11 of them. Like there's maybe 2 leagues where I don't.
Rock-
have
He's
Kirk
so
Cousins.
he's
rock
so
solid.
cheap. So cheap.
All right, so let's
And
keep.
he-
Go ahead.
Scott Fishbowl. He's the perfect Scott Fishbowl quarterback.
He really is. Yeah. All right, let's move on. We got 2 more rookies here in the top 150, and we're going to end there. I think that's a good end point for us. The first of those rookies, just after Devonta Smith, about 10 spots down, is going to be his college teammate from Alabama. Went higher than him in the draft at 106 to the Miami Dolphins, and that's Jalen Waddle. So he is just behind Robert Woods and Kareem Hunt, just before Laviska Shenault, Cooper Kupp, and DJ Chark. So I know the comparison a lot of people was Tyreek Hill. There is no other Tyreek Hill. I'm sorry.
Can't do it.
It's not a thing, so stop with that. I think Waddle could be a very productive player. He obviously gets his college quarterback with Tua Tagovailoa in Miami. He should be a big part of the offense. So, Sal, are you liking what you see enough to maybe drop him a like?
It just doesn't feel like Burrow and Chase, right? When you say the 2 college teammates.
No, it doesn't.
And
After the video of them being like, "Oh, I would rather have Mac Jones," it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
it's weird because I think Tua is going to be one of those guys that is a better NFL quarterback than he is a fantasy quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. I think
Fair.
he's going to win games there and do things, and he's a likable kid, and I think that's how we're going to look at him.
aka Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
his first and second year.
Nothing excites me about the Miami offense, and they're such a well-coached team. By the way, I think that
Yeah,
he's
Shout
a
out
phenomenal
Brian Flores.
coach. Yeah, I think he's a phenomenal coach, and I think they're going to win games, and I think that division's ripe for the taking. But no, I'm going to probably swipe left on him here. What was some of the other guys in this neighborhood, real quick?
So the other wide receivers in the area just before him was Julio Jones and Robert Woods. And then just after him were Laviska Shenault, Cooper Kupp, and DJ Chark, as well as Deebo Samuel, Odell Beckham, and Adam Thielen, if you want a few more.
So it's really Laviska for me in that group.
Yeah.
Out of those guys, the other guys are all long in the tooth, and if we're getting down to this part of a startup anyway, we're probably filling out the roster at this point with some guys that can play me. But no, if I could get my hands on Laviska in that spot, but then he would be the guy after that if you lumped him with that group. But yeah, it'd be Laviska over him for me.
All right, Tyler, what do you think?
yeah, I'm with Sal. It's between Visca and Waddle, and I actually would probably go with Waddle. So I'm actually going to swipe right here. I think it's just a draft capital. The coaching, I think I trust more in Miami, which is weird to say, than Jacksonville. So it's not weird to say. And and I like Waddle's speed. I think they can use him in different ways. Same with Visca. They are neck and neck to me. I think Visca and Ayuk have been my 2 biggest buys this offseason, and I actually wasn't on them last year. So it just goes to show maybe you shouldn't listen to me year 1, year 2. You should listen to me.
I was all about Visca.
Yeah, you guys were. I was afraid about the injuries and all that, but
The bad combine really killed him.
if they can use him as a typical receiver, I'm all in on Visca. I think him and Lawrence are going to make beautiful music together. But I mean, Waddle, Tua, that could be also magic. The issue there is, I think Lawrence is a better quarterback by far than Tua personally, and I'm with you, Sal. I think Tua is going to be that kind of. He's gonna sit in that quarterback 14-15 range for his career, unless he really gets in that Russell Wilson.
Maybe he's the next Derek Carr.
I was just gonna say he's the perfect QB too. Exactly. Same.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Speaking of which, so we've got our last player that we want to go over here, and that is a quarterback. The number 5 quarterback in this class for pretty much everyone. It was Mac Jones. So lots of quarterbacks in this range. So Mac Jones is right around, I'd say 180 in startups. Again, no numbers DLF, WTF. But the quarterback's just ahead of him, just a few spots. Daniel Jones is about 8 spots ahead. And then you've got Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, and then Mac Jones. Right after Mac Jones is the aforementioned Derek Carr. And that's it for quarterbacks in this range. And then we go all the way down to, we start to get in the 151s, which was Kadarius's Tony. Kadarius's Tony. Oh, that's interesting.
Kadarius's Tony.
Maybe that's what his, I don't know. I'm not going to go into pet names for things, but maybe that's what he calls it. So anyway, so Mac Jones in that range of those quarterbacks. Sal, are you looking at the dad runner himself, the swaggy Magoo, Mac Jones, over guys like Derek Carr, Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones.
So I like Daniel Jones more than probably most.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be Daniel Jones over him, right? The other guys, I mean, I have one roster where my Superflex quarterbacks are Goff and Derek Carr, so I have the consummate number twos.
You'll get some QB1 weeks here and there, yeah.
So here's the problem with Carr, right? As much as I just said good things about him, and I'm a Raider fan, blah 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 blah. I don't know how long his stay is going to be in Vegas after this year, right? Because if they don't win this year, in reality, it's Gruden that should be moving along. We know he's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got 6 more years of him or so.
It's not going.
Him and Mayock.
But I just can't stand watching a draft with either one of them.
Alex Leatherwood, really?
But yeah,
Damon Arnett, huh?
What?
It's like every time you watch, you're like Cleveland Felon. What?
Cleveland Ferrell. Yeah,
Ferrell,
number 4 overall.
Cleveland
like really?
Furl.
So I'll take Mac Jones over some of those older guys that are there, right? Just because he's going to New England, and it could be.
He also seems like the guy that would definitely buy dinner on the first date.
Yeah, well, then you know what? Swipe right. He does have man boobs, right? So he's something to.
Hey, the dad bod is in.
Yeah, and he's got it at 23 years old. That is fantastic. I mean, he succeeded what we only wanted to achieve in our 30s. He's already gotten his
30s,
like early 20s.
I'm in my 40s and trying to go the other way. I don't know. What
same here. Same here, Sal. I got you. So, Tyler, you swiping right on Mac Jones here?
I would actually rather have Sam Darnold than Mac Jones. That's one
fair.
of them.
I mean, Darnold's still super young, just 24 years old.
Yeah. And I think with Joe Brady, I think can revive his career. I think Joe Brady is a fantastic offensive mind. The issue with that is how long is Joe Brady going to be the offensive coordinator there
before he gets a head coaching job?
Yeah, Matt Rule is a great coach too, so I'm not really that nervous. If it was like an Atlanta situation where you have the head coach and then Shanahan's your offensive coordinator, then I would worry. But I think Matt Rule is a good NFL mind enough to kind of keep Darnold on the straight and narrow and on the path to succeed. So yeah, I'd rather have Darnold than Mac Jones. And who are the other quarterbacks?
The other quarterbacks, Derek Carr was going after Mac Jones, and it was Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones ahead of Mac Jones.
I think out of those, Daniel Jones would be very close, and then I think I'd rather have him over Goff.
I mean, Jones could be out of a job after this year.
Yes, that is true. And so, I think the whole entire Giants team could be out of a job after this year.
Joe is going to get judged as head coach.
Yes. Hello. Gettleman could be gone, hopefully, for New York's sake. But yeah, I think Mac Jones, I mean, I heard on a podcast they made Matt Castle look great. I mean, this is the same type of team and same offense that made Matt Castle look good. Garoppolo, he hasn't looked amazing outside of New England, but in New England he looked very promising.
His healthy year, they got to the Super Bowl, and he was a high end QB2.
Yeah, so I think Mac Jones at worst, I think, is a quarterback 2. At best, he could be quarterback 8, 9, around that range. So yeah,
sure. I'm swiping right on Mac Jones. Because I'm already hearing really good things out of Patriots camp. I've seen some clips of Cam Newton throwing the football in camp, and guys,
he's done.
It is ugly. So I think Cam Newton, it's going to be the classic. He's going to start the season. He's going to get us through week 4 when the Patriots play Tampa. Tom Brady comes back to New England. They're not putting Mac Jones out there in that game. It's going to be after that game. They're going to make the transition, and it's going to be Mac Jones after that. I have a feeling
that's great.
He's looking really good in camp. They're throwing things at him with the playbook, and he's super smart, and he's adjusting. I think that Cam Newton's time is going to be short. So if he has one good game at the beginning of the season, trade him while you can, if you can find someone to take him. But I think it's going to be Mac Jones at least by week 5. It's going to be after that Tampa game.
Doug, where is it that you live again?
I live in Rhode Island. I'm about 45 minutes from Gillette Stadium.
So you're a New England guy, right?
Yes. Yep.
You sound like a normal human being. Does it hurt you as much to listen to Dave Gettleman as it does me? I mean, I understand we have New York accents, and I can say New York or I can say New York.
Yeah,
I can
right.
be a little bit clearer sometimes, and sometimes when I get relaxed. But my goodness, listening to that man talk here in this state, in this city, is painful.
The Boston accent, the Rhode Island accent is even worse. It's not quite as common or well known, but it is. So speaking of Tinder, if you were dating in the Boston area and you happen to be talking to someone from Boston, as soon as a lady or even a man opens his mouth with that Boston accent, they might go from a 9 and go all the way to like a 5.
Yeah, well,
it's just unattractive. It's just unattractive. I can't. So
constantly feed them food.
Yeah, pretty much, just to keep their mouth shut. I like the strategy, Sal.
I feel like that's how I gained weight.
You want some more dessert? You want another dessert? Cool. All right, let's go. Yeah, so that accent, I'm from New Hampshire originally. My accent does come through a little bit, especially when Tyler and I are playing online and there's something exciting going on. I might slip up and give him a "what the fuck, kid" or something like that.
Wow. Yeah, well, we learned to. When I first started podcasting, I was like, how you doing now? Sal from New York, how you doing? And I'm like,
oh, I remember that. I remember that.
You sound like such a moron, I would say. But what an idiot you sound like.
I'm a tough guy. Hey.
Try to sound like a human for a second. I mean, accents from local, it's when you're around your friends and the people you grew up with, it just becomes so comfortable, right? But
yeah, you slide into that, sure. Absolutely.
When I talk to studs like you, gents, I gotta sound human.
You sound very human to us. So that is going to wrap us up for our Tinder episode. Thank you so much, Sal, for joining us. Sal, I want to give you the stage, the platform. Give us your dating profile on where we can find you and what's going on. I want you to sell yourself to us so we can swipe right, not only as people that are here on the podcast, but the people listening at home. So give us your best audible dating profile on why Sal is swiping right for his fantasy football dating site.
Well, at Sal Leto FF, SALLETO FF, and what you're going to find there is a guy who sometimes is obnoxious, will sometimes say some off-color stuff, but it's always in jest and always in good fun. I break Tyler's balls all the time on Twitter, and it's just because I like him so much. He's a good dude. So, if I'm breaking your balls, it's because I like you. Yep. But you're also going to find a guy who could be happy to be a part of Scott Fish's charity and what we're doing over at the SFB Podathon that's wrapped around and built around the Scott Fish Bowl. And if you're the first time you're seeing me or hearing about this, we do a live 24-hour show that kicks off the same day as the draft. So July 5th, 9 a.m. Eastern time, we kick off with the biggest names in the industry, and we go 24 hours. Me, Steve, and Kevin, we're on the full 24 with the biggest names, the smallest names, newcomers, old comers, whatever. We talk fantasy football, we talk life, we talk fun. This year, because the Scott Fish Bowl is based around music, those are the divisions, we're adding a musical element. People in the fantasy community have sent into us some parody songs, some original music, stuff that's really good. I happen to land in a division with Nixon. I don't know if you know who Nixon is, but he's the lead singer of Framing Hanley. And they're really good, like really good. And he's agreed to allow us to play some of their music on a Podathon. So we're going to have a lot of fun this year. So what you're getting in me is a guy who's family first, love my kids first and foremost, and a big shout out to you gents for Father's Day and anybody who's watching, listening for Father's Day, and a guy who believes in doing good in the world and believes that it's not that serious. Treat everybody equally. That's all races. That's all sexual orientations. That's all backgrounds, religions. I'm not a religious guy, but if you are, good for you, man. Do you and treat everybody equally. So
even the redheads.
Yeah, even this soulless bastard, Tyler Goofman.
If you could say my last name right, maybe that would hit, but you didn't. So
Tyler Gunther.
No, yeah, I always call him
a hard U.
I always call him Gunther.
It's German.
Anyway, yeah, I like to laugh. I like to have a good time. And I like to make people feel good about themselves. So
awesome! You guys have a goal this year for a Podathon?
Yes, $50,000. We raised $42,000 last year. I put up a number of 10, and we raised $42,000.
That is absolutely amazing.
Will I be upset if we don't hit 50? No, I'll be happy that we get anything. Any money we get for this.
That's the right attitude. Absolutely.
Is amazing. But if we can hit 50. Think about how many kids we could bring a better Christmas to.
We got to get some of these bands and players involved, man. We can crush that.
I think we will. We will crush it this year, guys. So yeah, check me out. Also at SFB Podathon is the other page. And go there. You'll find a list. You'll find the links to donate. You'll find the people who are going to be on the show, schedule, all that good stuff, and we'll have a good time.
Awesome.
Waiting
Absolutely.
for our invite.
Looking forward to it.
You guys will
Packed,
find your way
man.
in.
Okay.
You'll
Well, yeah,
find your way in.
we'll find our way in. We always do. It's tradition at this point.
We get the 3 a.m. slot, but it's
That's
okay.
cool.
We'll
That's
rock
Peter.
it.
That's Peter Gent.
I was going to say, I thought it was Peter Howard. He's always up super late. That wouldn't surprise me.
I can't understand what he says. No, he can't come back.
That's
You should play
Also-
Fortnite with them.
Oh my God, you should hear his mic echo. It's terrible. Anyway, so for Doug, for Tyler, for Sal, thanks for joining us on the Dynasty Happy Hour. That was a great episode, Sal. Thank you once again. Check out SFB Podathon. Donate to Fantasy Cares, all the things. It is the best thing about fantasy football, in my opinion, year in and year out. Support it however you can, whether it's buying a shirt, donating, whatever you need to do, just do it. It's for the best cause ever. And it's one of my favorite times of the year to be able to be blessed to participate in SFB again this year, along with Tyler and Sal. So thank you for tuning into the Dynasty Happy Hour. We will see you next week.